Okay, so the first thing you did here was just like we did on the first warm-up, found the midpoint, right? So it said we had an S and an R. We were trying to find the midpoint, which was A. If you take -2 plus -4 and divide by 2, you get -3, don't you? If you take 7 plus -7, you get 0. Divide by 2, you get 0. So A is at -3, 0. Everybody agree with that first? Have that point on there. Then we did the same thing for RT, found its midpoint. -4 plus 6 is -2, positive 2, sorry. Divided by 2 is 1. -7 plus -1 is -8. Divided by 2 is -4. Your B point should be at 1, -4. And then we connected them. So we have found a mid segment because we went from midpoint to midpoint. Everybody good? Okay, now let's look at what it asks us next. What is the slope of mid segment AB? So now we want to find our rise and run, don't we? Okay, figure out what the rise and run is of AB. Does everybody agree that you'd have to go down 4, over 4? So down 4, right 4, or you had to went up 4, left 4. Either way, it's 4 over -4 somehow, which is -1. Is everybody good? All right, let's find the slope of ST. Figure out how much I'm going up, how much I'm going over. Oop, try that again. So everybody agree that we're going up 8, over 8. And it is negative, so it's a -1. So if our slope of AB is -1 and our slope of ST is -1, how does ST and AB compare to each other? They would be parallel because they have the same slope. So here's what we've done so far on a mid segment. We found, or we did midpoint to midpoint because that's what a mid segment is, right? We just found out that a mid segment is parallel to its base because it has the same slope. Next, we're going to see how their lengths compare to each other. So in this next part where it says find AB, anytime it just puts the 2 letters down, you're finding distance. So find the distance between A and B. The points should look familiar. You really don't have to do any work if you look at which warm-up problem. B. Everybody see we already did that problem? What did we get for the distance on warm-up B? Square root of 32. Now at that time I didn't break it down, did I? All right, we need to break it down this time so we can compare the mid segment and the base. Okay, so what goes into that? You guys agree 16 and 2 would be 32? Now I'm going to cheat because I did this on purpose. 16 is a perfect square, isn't it? What is the square root of 16? 4. Now, if you kept going, you could have broke it down all the way down, but you still would have got 4 square root of 2. Okay, now we're going to find ST. Okay, let's do that one together. I want to make sure you get it right. Here's my 2 points. You guys know if we're finding distance, we're doing Pythagorean theorem, right? Let me ask you guys a question. How far is it from -2 to 6? 8. We already found that answer, didn't we? You guys remember when we did the slope? It was like the run. So you guys agree that my A would be 8. So I'll put 8 squared. How far did we say it was between 7 and negative 1? It was 8 also, wasn't it? Now, on the slope, one of those was negative, right? Would it matter if I put a negative 8 here in parentheses and then squared it? What's going to happen on the next line anyway? It's going to become positive, all right? So what we just did visually right there without a graph is we figured out if you were drawing that on there, like so, we figured out that my right triangle was 8 by 8. And then we're finding the C, which is our distance. Does that make sense, everybody? That's what we just did on the graph. So that's 64 plus 64, isn't it? 64 plus 64 is 128. So you guys agree that 64, we're going to that twice? Who knows what the square root of 64 is? It's 8. It's a perfect square. And once again, you can break that down further all the way down there, but you're going to get an 8 as a number and a square root of 2. Now here's why we did that, okay? AB is the mid-segment, right? You guys agree that it's 4 square root of 2? That is the base, 8 square root of 2. How much bigger is the base than the mid-segment? Twice as big. Let's write that down. Compare the length of AB and ST. Okay, ST is twice as big as AB. All right, so let's recap what we just did on this next page once you get that down. So basically, when I rehash like last time things about a median, that's what we're doing right now with the mid-segment. So number 2 on the back of your notes, if you put a big box around it, those are the things you would need to know about a mid-segment. Does that make sense? So here's the things we learned. When we do a mid-segment, it connects the blank of 2 sides of a triangle. What do we connect for a mid-segment? Midpoints. So for a mid-segment, you connect midpoints. Okay, we discovered that it is parallel to the base. So it's parallel to the base, which means they have the same slope. Now, in the next here, we're going to say it 2 words. Okay, we know that the base is twice as big as the mid-segment, but sometimes you might say it the other way. So we're going to say this. A mid-segment is half the length of the base. So the mid-segment is a smaller part. It is half the length of the base. Or if you said it the other way, you could say the base is twice as big as the mid-segment. So the mid-segment is half the base, or you can say the base is twice the mid-segment. And if we draw in all 3 of the mid-segments, I realize we didn't do it here, but if I draw in all 3 of the mid-segments, are they going to meet at a point of concurrency? No. You guys see that? So the mid-segment is the only one that does not have a point of concurrency. So a mid-segment does not have a point of concurrency. Okay, when you get those written down, you guys try 3, A and B, and then we'll go over those together. If you're watching the video that we made, you can just get online and look at it worked out.